The very things that our culture calls freedom, empowerment, self-care might actually be robbing us from the very love, joy, and meaning that we're constantly seeking as a society. We live in an interesting time that definitely worships pleasure and ease and comfort. Think of this casual dating culture, this hookup culture, this endless entertainment that is available at our fingertips. All of this instant gratification is actually leaving us more empty than ever. Today we're going to be talking about the cost of pleasure, not only on women, but in society at a larger scale. We're going to do so by diving deep into the book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Hello, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Mademoiselle Diaries. I am Aurelia, the founder of Mademoiselle Diaries, and I am here on a mission to empower women to become their most beautiful, elegant, and feminine self through embracing their faith and classics. Today we'll be exploring this book, Brave New World, that I believe every single person watching this, right after watching this, please purchase this book. It is one of the most important reads of 2025 of all time. We're actually currently reading this book as part of our book club in Mademoiselle Society. We had our first discussion today and we talked from chapters 1 to 9. So if you want to join our next book club discussion on this book, definitely join Mademoiselle Society to stay updated. So in Brave New World, Aldous Huxley basically imagines the society, this dystopian society where comfort and ease have replaced love, family, and individuality. People are conditioned from birth to avoid deep connections, commit to nothing, and keep themselves entertained and tranquilized with this drug called soma. So let's break down the lessons we can learn from Huxley's wording and how to escape this trap of having, yes, this pleasant life, but in the end, it's totally meaningless. So the first time that I read this book was actually in 2018 during summer. I still remember this. And I was saying to the ladies this morning that I didn't know that this book could hit even closer to home than it did in 2018. So this is my second time reading it. And I remember after 2018, I was in college, exposing myself to the dating culture, the dating scene. It was a wild zoo, let me tell you that. And also got into the habit of smoking, cigarettes, all of that, like nicotine. I had a very big addiction of nicotine. Breaking off from all of that dating culture, that hookup culture, that addiction from smoking, it's been many years now. But reading it now, it just gave me a new lens, a new perspective. And coming out of that, I can tell you, ladies, like how much more fulfilling this path really is. This path that is much deeper, less shallow, and this path of true fulfillment that is not of quick and easy fixes, quick dopamine hits that I feel like a lot of people resort to today. I'm so fascinated by the fact that Aldous Huxley actually wrote this book in 1931. And here I am in 2025, I can still see the familiar patterns. And there's always this debate, okay, are we entering a 1984 society or a Brave New World society? In 1984, it's a society where things are completely prohibited. You're not allowed to read books. Language is changed as well. Brave New World is humans are actually conditioned to like certain things and to dislike certain things, especially to dislike things of depth. And I really feel like we're actually entering Brave New World. Like we're already in it. People are not really inclined to enjoy the things of depth. As mentioned, the happiness in the society is maintained through this drug called soma, which suppresses any sort of dissatisfaction or any feelings of longing. If they feel a certain ache in their stomach or they want something, simply take a soma and it will be gone right away, which really reminds me of when I was addicted to smoking, to nicotine. Every time I felt an urge, a craving, I didn't even try to go through that craving. A few hours, it was too hard. I immediately suppressed that craving with another cigarette. So the first angle that I really want to approach this question of pleasure and meaningless life is this idea of mass pleasure versus true emotion. This thread that feels so urgent today of depth versus shallowness, connection versus consumption, mass pleasure versus true emotion. In a world that commodifies our pleasures, choices, and even our most intimate acts like sex, Are we exchanging true fulfillment for a pleasant but ultimately meaningless existence? As the term mass pleasure suggests, it is a commodified, non-unique way of experiencing gratification. It is available to the masses, so it's not unique to each individual. In Brave New World, all of these feelings of longing, yearning, or dissatisfaction, they're all chemically suppressed with soma, which provides instant relief. Even relationships are considered purely recreational and for self-pleasure, and that's why close bonds don't exist in Brave New World. Even the word mother is very taboo in the society because it's just too weird. Like, how come there's monogamy? Monogamy does not exist in this society, ladies. There's a slogan that literally says everyone belongs to everyone else. So any sort of singular deep connection cannot be formed, or it's not encouraged. And there's this one instance in the beginning of the book where Lenina, she sees this guy, Henry Foster, for a bit too long now, for a few months, and the individuals in the society question her and ask her, what are you doing? Like, be careful, you're stepping into very dangerous territory of monogamy. It is not very difficult to notice the familiar patterns and the parallels between the society that Aldous Huxley describes in Brave New World with our current contemporary society. A personal anecdote was when I was hanging out with my group of friends years and years ago, and one of our friends actually, she has been dating this man, this guy, for quite a long time. It was her first lover, her first high school lover, her first everything. And when she wasn't there, one of our friends actually brought this up, and this really made me think of that Brave New World passage that I was talking to you about. And this friend basically said, I can't imagine, having just one partner for life, like just experiencing sex like with just one person or a few people even. Like, how can you not want to experience the world? And isn't it crazy that this is exactly what Aldous Huxley warned us about, that we want to experience everything? But the thing that we forget is when we want to experience everything and everyone, we don't experience anything with depth. This culture of dating multiple people at once is so insidiously normalized and especially amplified by the countless options that we have access to on dating apps or even on social media. You don't even have to be on the dating app, simply on social media. If you have 100 followers already, you have access to so many options. So now commitment becomes so difficult. Now commitment becomes this dreadful thing that we should not aspire to. And obviously with the advances of contraception, birth control, abortion, I'm not going to say my thoughts about any of that, but obviously it made it easier for sex to be purely recreational. And now we view relationships simply as a way to gratify the self. And this goes beyond relationships. Instant gratification is available to us like soma. We constantly have access to instant pleasure. When we're waiting for something, when we're in line for a queue, we can just grab our phone, remove that feeling of dissatisfaction. When we're bored in a situation, in a socializing setting, or we feel awkward and embarrassed, just grab your phone and look like you have something to do with yourself. Or simply look at the movies that are being shown to us, the blockbuster films of today. And this is why I'm such a fond of classic and old Hollywood films, just old and independent films even of today, because the blockbuster films, the Avengers and all of that, it's always the same story. It's pleasant to watch, don't get me wrong, it is pleasant to watch, it's nice to watch, but it has zero depth. And the same with TikToks and Reels. Like, yes, they're so pleasant, they offer this instant gratification, but they have no depth. And now it's even more dystopian. We can write a whole book with simply a ChatGPT prompt. Never in history have humans had access to so many sources of many pleasures with so immediate and little to no effort. This is the first time in history that we have access to such mass pleasure in such commodified and manufactured way of experiencing pleasure. And you ask why people are more lonely than ever. You ask why people are so dissatisfied. People are so confused with what to do with their career. People are more confused than ever in relationships. The divorce rates are higher than ever. It is a mess. I want to quickly talk about the future of iPad kids in particular. So the citizens in Brave New World, in the world state, they're conditioned from birth. So their preferences, their hobbies, all of that, they are conditioned from birth. We see, honestly, echoes of this in the way that children are raised. And I don't want to seem like a conspiracy theorist, but honestly, I feel like today you need to sound a little bit like a conspiracy theorist because these things are just too weird to be true. The thing with iPad kids is they're constantly stimulated and rarely required to engage in play outside of their rooms. They can get all of the entertainment that they need simply by lifting a finger, simply by scrolling. As a consequence, when they grow up, they're trained literally from childhood. They are trained and conditioned to prefer these shallow pleasures, and death becomes this unfamiliar and totally unexplored territory. By the time that they grow up, they're not only uninterested in reading a book, for example, but they're actually repulsed by it. And don't you see this happening not only in our kids, but in ourselves? The effort to sit down and just focus on reading a book or simply to stay still, it's insufferable almost. And this is why I believe that we're entering a Brave New World society as opposed to a 1984 society. There's this one quote that I read from Substack, and it says, "Not enough people understand that a world where no one reads books is just as bad as a world without any books. Those who seek to make you illiterate don't need to burn books. They just need to take away any interest in reading them." And that is exactly what's happening today. All the books in the world is available. All the information that will make you so educated, so intelligent is available on the internet more than ever. But your interest is not there. Your interest is not there. You prefer the shallow content. You prefer the content that has zero depth. You prefer the pleasant, yes, but meaningless existence. My question that I had is, why would the controllers of the world state manufacture such mass pleasure so deliberately? The answer, of course, is it helps to maintain stability by discouraging independent thinking. It discourages you being critical and opposing the government or actually having an independent thought or speaking your mind. And that leads us to our next part, the threat of flowers, books, and love. By preventing people from forming deep attachments to ideas, to art, to love, to human beings, the state actually eliminates conflict. It's how the state maintains stability. When people are exposed to art, to nature, to new ideas, to deep relationships, you open up this vulnerable side of them, and that is risky. Genuine intimate connection exposes individuals to heartbreak, to jealousy, to bitterness, to envy, and sacrifice, all of which are unwanted in this world state. Free love, in contrast, it's safe, it's convenient, and it's uncommitted. It avoids that vulnerability and that emotional risk within you, and it allows pleasure without connection. You can sleep with as many people as possible and completely do it without meaning. It's easy, you still have the pleasure. And that is why in Brave New World, flowers, books, and intimate relationships are not only relevant, but they're threats to society because they could inspire independent thought or attachment, and it challenges the stability of the state. Yet we forget that by stripping away challenge, sacrifice, emotional investment, free love only exists in a hollow version of intimacy. It's pleasant in the moment, but ultimately unfulfilling. It's that nicotine hit that you need. It is pleasant in the moment, but you know that in the long run, it's not fulfilling because you constantly need more and more and more of it. And this leads me to my next question. How can anything be truly meaningful if we're exposed to the same mass pleasures, sharing the same partners, sharing the same entertainment, the same TikTok, the same reels, and the same experiences? In the name of stability, both societal and individual, we have traded genuine connection for a constant stream of easy pleasures and options. This culture of consumption makes commitment nearly impossible because when everything is available, nothing and no idea, no project feels worth holding on to. And that's why you see people hop from one partner to the next. You see people changing business idea every single day. You see people changing careers at a faster rate than ever. And that is what the paradox of choice is all about and why it's so hard to commit today. This is something that I've personally experienced when I first entered the dating scene and was exposed to this wild zoo. I find that it has only intensified even over time as I left that dating scene because I'm in a relationship now. And even with my friends, I find that, even till this day, is getting worse and worse. I hear from my girlfriends that men don't even want to commit to them anymore. And honestly, it's because nowhere in history have we been exposed to this many choices with countless ways to filter people by their age, by location, by their interests, by their hobbies, by all these crafted prompts. And it makes the whole process almost feel like we have the option to build this perfect, ideal partner for us. We have the option to have this partner whose purpose is basically to make us fulfilled. And the more I think about it, the more dystopian it all seems. I mean, come on, whenever have relationships been about this filtering process that is so meticulous? It's so dystopian. I don't want to be a part of it. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I have used dating apps and I'm so blessed and so lucky that I've been able to get off of it. But my opinion and my impression today of dating apps still remains largely negative. I know that there's many beautiful relationships that have formed from it. I'm not going to deny that, of course not. But I will say that the effect that it has on society, because we think now that we have countless options, but all of these options are totally delusional and they're not, it doesn't exist. And with so many options, it's so incredibly difficult to commit. I don't even blame the people who have a hard time committing, because the society is built in a way that it's really, really hard to commit to a partner. We're actually living in a Brave New World society. This is what Barry Schwartz called the paradox of choice. You've probably already been in a restaurant where the menu is 10-page long. There's so many food options and you're basically paralyzed. You don't know what to pick. And even when you do pick your food and what you want to eat, you feel dissatisfied because you missed out on all the other options. That's exactly the field that we're playing in when we're looking at dating, when we're looking at our careers. With so many options available, commitment feels riskier when there's always a possibility to find a better person, a better career, a better job. We become more and more hesitant to just choose one path. And in love, this can mean keeping relationships shallow to avoid missing out on other possibilities. Okay, I'm going to see these 3 people at once. I'm going to test out these 3 people. But you actually miss out on the chance to actually learn about one person in depth. This is something that is so underrated, and people are confused. How can you stay with one life partner for the rest of your life? Don't you realize the amount of things that you can learn even from one person? I feel like I can talk to my boyfriend for hours and hours and hours, and I still want to hear his ideas and his opinions about a certain topic, and we can do this every single night. It's endless. Like, humans are that interesting. If you really make the effort to get to know one person deeply, you will be so surprised at the connection and the bond, the level of intimacy that you can build with someone. And I get it, commitment is boring. It demands this vulnerability, the sustained effort, and the willingness of failure too. And when you're in a relationship, it's the risk of getting your heart broken when you're committed to someone. But what is the other option? To just have all of these empty and shallow connections where you don't actually get to know a person in depth, where you actually know a lot of people, but on the surface level, and you're completely desensitized to even the most intimate act. Ladies, please, for goodness sake, do not settle for what is easy, what is immediately rewarding, rather than what is deep, meaningful, and lasting. It is so much better on this other side. This is coming from someone who has continuously pursued instant gratification, whether it be my addiction with social media or smoking or casual dating. Take it from me. Take it from me. Find that fulfillment in something that is so much more lasting. Don't use people as a tool for your own pleasure. That is so miserable. And I've done that myself, where I always ask, okay, what is in this for me? Like, what can I gain from this? And that is just such a lonely and miserable mindset to live in, to constantly think about yourself. Okay, what do I need more? What do I need more? When you change that to how can I give more? How can I serve more? Man, your life becomes so much more fulfilling. It's not just about yourself. You start to connect yourself with other people. You start to connect yourself with a higher purpose, with a higher mission. And the world does not revolve around all of your needs and what you lack, but really about how you can add more to it, because God placed you in this life to help people, not for you to constantly be gratified in every single desire. And the meaning of sacrifice honestly became clearer to me when I actually developed a relationship with God. I started reading the New Testament, and this idea of sacrifice is so prevalent with Jesus being the ultimate sacrifice for humanity. He encourages us to deny our flesh, to deny ourselves, to follow him. Honestly, I have given to every single desire for basically all of my life. I really indulged in that hedonistic life. But where did that actually lead me? I was just so miserable and unfulfilled in that life, in that self-gratifying life. I truly believe in canceling plans last minute, for example, because I'm doing this for self-care. And this is something that, again, I really want to talk about. Self-care society is honestly becoming just too extreme. I think it started out in a good way, but now everyone is always putting their self-care, their comfort first. And they don't want to go out of their way for people to sacrifice some of that comfort, some of that pleasure to really serve people. Do you think that I actually wake up every single day feeling comfortable and pleasure serving my mission? I don't feel that every single day, but I know that this is connected to a higher mission and a higher calling. And it makes my mission even more meaningful because despite my feelings, despite how I feel in the moment, I still choose to serve my ladies. I still choose to serve my God. If there's anything that you can remember from this video, is that sacrifice is simply giving up something good for something greater. You don't know what is on the other side of you sacrificing your comfort and your pleasure in the moment. It's the mother giving up her ease to take care of her children. It's the father working long hours to provide for his family. It's coming to a friend's home late at night when they just go through a breakup and they need companionship. They need you. Yes, it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing, the most pleasant thing, because it's late at night and I want to sleep. But no, I'm going to show up to my friend's house because this is meaningful to her. It's choosing to part with money that you could spend on yourself and to give that, to be generous with your finances and to give that to people who actually need it more. And in the world state, there is nothing to sacrifice for. Why? Because they have instant gratification available at any time. If they feel that sense of longing, that sense of feeling, if there's something to sacrifice for, no, easy. Simply take a soma, simply hook up with someone, and that feeling will be gone. You don't need to sacrifice for anything. But we're not living like that. Nothing meaningful can arise without sacrifice. The richest friendships, the most enduring marriages, the most fulfilling careers, none of them can exist without some sort of sacrifice. None of them can exist without some sort of sustained effort and the willingness to give something good up. Yes, there's so many good options. Ladies, I want you to know that you're being tested when there's all of these options. These are counterfeits, and you're not supposed to settle for these good options. You're supposed to actually pursue something greater than the counterfeits that is presented to you by the world. And this even means if you're settling in a job that is pleasant, that yes, it pays the bills, but it actually doesn't require any change, doesn't require any transformation within you. It does not align with your calling. It does not align at all with the mission that you have put into this world for. You can stay in that comfortable job. It is safe, it is easy, but it is utterly devoid of passion, of change, and it requires no transformation within you. You can 100% avoid commitment in dating, switching from one casual connection to another, never risking any heartbreak in your life. But on the other hand, you will never taste the depth of real and true intimacy with one person, that intimacy that comes from getting to know one person with so much depth. You can fill every quiet moment with Netflix, with TikTok, with Instagram, and endless scrolling, but also never having to sit in silence and actually hearing from God and what He wants you to do with your life. Sometimes meaning requires exposing ourselves to embracing discomfort. Yes, it is vulnerable. Yes, it is risky. But it's actually this thing that Aldous Huxley talks about, the right to be unhappy, because it teaches us who we truly are. At the end of the story, ladies, the only person who truly misses out on this equation is ourselves when we're constantly choosing instant gratification. We avoid experiences that really have the ability to shape and deepen us as human beings. This is why the lure of short and fleeting pleasures is so dangerous, and I want you ladies to avoid this at all costs. And this is why I take particular issue with the current dating culture that treats people as these disposables that exist only for self-pleasure, as objects of self-pleasures rather than dignified souls with their own depth and their own value. When connection becomes purely about convenience or gratification, we strip away that sacredness of relationship and we turn intimacy almost as a disposable, almost as a product. The way we date, ladies, the way we view one another, this whole thing of casual dating, it really shows and says a lot about society and what is happening at a larger scale. Please invite stillness into your life. Let God speak into you. Take the less convenient and less comfortable, less pleasant path. Yes, you can live a very, very pleasant life indulging in all of these pleasures, but ladies, it will be totally devoid of meaning. The happiest and most fulfilled people are not those who indulge in every fleeting desire, but those who truly give freely, who sacrifice for others. This thing of sacrifice is so important, and who live for something truly beyond themselves, beyond their needs, beyond what they want, but beyond their own desires. That is how you truly rebel in today's world, to choose depth over convenience, to choose depth over shallow relationships. Stop treating people as disposable and these objects that are used for self-pleasure. Just stop doing that. That's not how God imagined our society to be. That's not how He created us to be. Yes, you can still experience pleasure, but if you're constantly doing this one fleeting pleasure to the next, it's just all meaningless. My ladies, again, please read Brave New World. This book will truly change your life. It will expose all of the realities that we currently live in, and it will convict you. It has convicted me as well, and that's why I'm here to share the message with you ladies as well. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!